So you get a buy signal, put on the trade, and then you get stopped out immediately, only to see the market rip in the direction that you originally intended. It's one of the most frustrating things a trader can experience, and you're not alone. This is super common, and I'm going to show you one way that you can drastically minimize the chances from this happening. Hi, my name's Tommy, and on this channel, I give tips and tricks to help you with your trading and teach how to automate your strategies. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, so please do your own research and read the full disclaimer in the description of this video. What many traders tend to do is put their stop loss just at or under the swing low, which is just too tight of a stop. Since many traders put their stops at these positions, it creates an area of liquidity, and price tends to seek out areas of liquidity, which is why many traders end up getting stopped out or stop hunted in these areas. To get around this, we're going to use a free indicator called the ATR Stop Loss Finder by Verifid. Or is it Verified? 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 Verifid? I don't know. For the settings, the only thing I changed was the multiplier. I changed that to 0.75 for 0.75 ATR. I also changed the colors, and I unchecked the ATR short stop loss. So the gold line that you see underneath all of the candles, that is the ATR line. And since we currently have the multiplier set by 0.75, it's basically 0.75 ATR from the low of the candle to the line. So if we go back into the ATR indicator and change the multiplier to a 2, for example, you'll notice that the line is going to go much farther away from the low of each candle. And in my experience, I found that 0.75 ATR works pretty darn good for just about anything out there, so that's what I use. The ATR stands for Average True Range. And what it is it's basically a measurement of volatility of a certain period of candles. So in this case, in our ATR indicator, we have the length set to 14. So what that means is it's going to look at the last 14 candles and measure the volatility, and it's going to give us a number. And that number is going to be subtracted from the low of each candle. And that's how we come up with this line. So basically, what that allows us to do is if we scroll back to see these areas of higher volatility, if I measure these from the line to the low here, that is 0.55%. But as we get to some lower volatility over here, if I measure the line to the low, in this case, it's only 0.19%. So you can see how, based off of the volatility of the candles, that line is going to fluctuate for you and dynamically adjust itself to the appropriate stop. So the idea here is that instead of putting our stop at the swing low like we normally would, we are going to put it at the ATR line underneath the swing low. And as you can see in this case, we would have been clear. Our stop would not have been hit in that case. And then in this other case over here, instead of putting it at the swing low, we're putting it at the ATR line under the swing low. And in this case, again, we would not have been stopped out before it took a massive rip to the sky. So you might be thinking, okay, that's great, but I don't want to have to sit there and manually hover my mouse over the line, grab the number, and manually have to go to my exchange and type that in. After all, this channel is about making things easier and automation, right? So let me show you how to do it faster, more efficiently, and more accurately. In this particular case, when our buy alert triggers, we want to set the stop to the value of the ATR line that's underneath the swing low, not the value of the ATR that is under the current candle. Now, in most systems, this would be pretty difficult to accomplish, but thankfully with TOMMYBOTS, we have a really easy solution. And that solution is what we call a value tracker alert. And so a value tracker alert, all it is it's simply an alert that's dedicated to tracking the values of a line or an object on the chart over the last X number of candles. So in this particular example, we might want to track the value of that ATR line over, let's say, the last 10 candles. And then when our buy alert triggers, we can automatically reference the values in that value tracker alert and tell it to take the low of that data set. Hopefully that makes sense. So if it doesn't make sense, it will make sense. I promise. It's super easy. It sounds complicated, but it's super easy. Okay, so to create that value tracker alert, all we need to do is go into TOMMYBOTS, and right now I'm on the dashboard, and on the left hand side you'll see the value tracker section. So I'll go ahead and click on that, and all we need to do is give it three things. You need to give it an ID, the last number of candles you want to track, and then the plot variable that references the line that you want to track on the chart. And so in this case, let's just go ahead and call this BTC 1 hour ATR. We'll just call it that, but you could call it anything you want. And we want to track the last 10 candles in this case, so I'm just going to say 10. And I know in this case the plot variable is plot 1_1, but you probably won't know that offhand. So to figure that out, what you can do is you can go back to the chart and just go to like the 30-second or 1 minute time frame, create an alert on that indicator, and just put these plot variables in your message. And I think TradingView lets you have like, I think up to 20 different plot variables. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's around 20. And so what you could do is you could just put all of these in your alert message. And so for example, I could put another one here and I could change that to 3. And when you save it, it's going to print the values of each of these variables to the screen. So one just fired just now. So I can see like right here, here's the first one, here's the second one. So the second one in this case is plot 1. And I know that plot 1 references the ATR line. So I can go hover my mouse over the ATR line on that last candle that closed, which is about right here. And sure enough, I'm getting about 349, 350, which is the same number that we have here. And so that's how I know that it is plot 1 for that particular line. So I'll just go ahead and cancel that, go back to TOMMYBOTS, make sure that the right plot variable is in there, and then hit generate code. And after you generate the code, just click the copy button, and then we can go back to the chart and go back to the time frame that we really want. And then we could go over to the ATR indicator, click on the 3 dots to the right, click on add alert, and we can simply triple click to select all in the message, hit delete, and then paste in that value tracker code. And we need to modify the conditions so that this fires on every single candle close. And the way that we can do that is we can just change this to greater than, and then for the 0, just go ahead and change that to 0. And that means it'll just always be true. And so every single time a candle closes, this is going to fire, and it's going to send that value of the ATR line over to the bot. Last thing we need to do is make sure that this is on per bar close and not only once. And that way it's only going to fire on the close of each of those candles. And for the alert name, we're just going to go ahead and call that BTC 1 hour ATR value tracker. And we'll hit create. Oh, and the last thing, you'll probably want to come over here, and you probably don't want to actually be alerted every time this goes off. So you want to turn the sound off. Make sure that your webhook URL is in here, which you can get from your bot. So I'm not going to go ahead and put that in here now, but that's where you're going to put your webhook URL. And you probably want to go ahead and just go ahead and uncheck all of those boxes. And that way you're not going to get a notification for the value tracker, because all you really care about is when the buy alert comes in. You don't care about all these values that you're tracking behind the scenes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And now your value tracker is created. So now that it's created, you don't have to worry about it ever again. You can just let it run continuously in the background, and on every candle close, it's going to send that ATR value over to the bot to be stored away so that you can reference those values in your buy alerts completely separately. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a buy alert, and we're going to reference that value tracker to set our stop. Okay, so now we're back in TOMMYBOTS, and to create that buy code or that buy alert, we're going to go to the code generator, and we're going to make sure that buy is selected, and we're buying BTC USD. And for the order type, we'll just go ahead and do a limit order, and we're going to dynamically set the limit price to the corresponding candle price when the alert is triggered. So all that means is that when the alert's triggered, is going to use whatever the price is at that point in time when the alert's triggered. So we're going to leave that box checked and hit next. And for the amount, we're going to leave it at 2.5%, but we could change that if we wanted to. And what that means is it's going to use 2.5% of the available USD balance on our account. So we'll go ahead and hit next, and we do want to add a stop. And this is when we're going to reference our value tracker alert. So you can do a market order for your stop, or you could do a limit order. We'll go ahead and leave it at market. We're going to check the box to say that yes, this is we're going to use a value tracker to set the price, and we want to paste in the same ID that we used for that value tracker. So when we created the value tracker, we called it BTC 1 hour ATR. So you want to make sure that you use the same exact name. And this is where you get to reference whether you want to take the high, the low, or the average of all of those values in the last 10 candles that it's tracking. So in our case, we want to take the low, so we're going to make sure that the low is selected. And for the stop amount, you can say that you want to sell everything. So you can leave it at 100%. You can say you want to only sell half. It's all up to you. We'll go ahead and leave it at 100% and click next. We won't go ahead and add a take profit now, but you could if you wanted to. And you could also create a separate value tracker for your take profit as well. So the sky is kind of the limit as far as value trackers goes. And group alerts, we're not going to get into that, but there's a lot more power behind group alerts that you can use. And so we just go ahead and hit finish, generate code. And this is the code that we want to copy. Hit the copy button. And now we're going to go back to our chart. So your buy alert can be triggered off of anything. It could be an indicator, it could be anything you want in your chart. But just for the sake of this example, I'm just going to put a line on my chart, horizontal ray. I'll go ahead and change this to, instead of red, I'll just make it yellow. And for text, I'll just say buy. So we're basically creating just a buy line that we can move wherever we want on the chart. And I'm going to right click on the line, say add alert on horizontal ray. And then I'm going to triple click in the message and paste in the buy code. And for the alert name, I'm just going to call it BTC. I'll just call it buy. And we'll leave the trigger at only once. And last thing is make sure that your webhook URL is in there with your bot ID. I'm not going to do that for this demo, but you will definitely want to make sure that that is checked. And that's it. Hit save. And now when the price crosses my line, it's automatically going to set the stop to the swing low, the swing ATR low over the last 10 candles. Now, if you just want to make sure that your value tracker is running and that it's actually saving values behind the scenes, all you have to do is log into your TOMMYBOTS account and click on the alert log section on the left. And it will give you a log for every alert that was fired with your value tracker. And so in this case, it will tell you what the value tracker name is, how many candles it's tracking, as well as the value that was received. And in this case, you can see I have several here that just came in. And there you have it. That's how easy it is to set up a value tracker alert and to reference that value tracker in your buy alerts to set stops, for example. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button to get more tips and tricks to improve and automate your trading. All right, guys, take care.